Hello and welcome to Sword Slinger Devlog number 2. Yes, this puzzle game now has an actual name, thanks to my sister for suggesting this. And before I dive into the devlog, there is a demo available now. The Steam store page link is in the description below, as well as the itch.io page. So download the demo from either of those places. If you play it on Steam, or itch for that matter, wishlist it on Steam. It's good for me and my visibility. And also you'll be able to be notified when the game finally releases later this year, if all goes well. So appreciate you guys. If you have feedback, please, you can tweet me at Firebelly. You can leave a comment on this video. Anyway, you can email me, admin@firebelly.com. You can send me your feedback in any which way you want. I appreciate each and every little piece of feedback that I get. So please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. With that out of the way, and you have hopefully played the game now, I'm going to talk about what has changed since the last devlog. So first thing is obvious. We have a main menu. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go super in-depth on that. You can imagine what things are in here. So I'm going to go ahead and click play. This is the first level here. So immediately the first difference, major difference, is I changed the art. It doesn't look too different, but you'll notice the corners are a little bit rounded, which gives it a nice, smoother, softer look. And I think that the tile pattern just tiles better. There's less variability in the texture, which actually makes it look nicer. So yeah, I like that. Cool. The second thing that's major here is that you are limited now to 4 behavior groups. And now remember, a behavior group consists of a trigger and an action. The first one is automatically a start trigger, so you don't really have control over that. And you have an action, which now glows. It's begging you to click it, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and add something there. And you can see, yep, there's your add trigger, add action. You can do whatever you want there. So that's the second major thing. So the reason that I changed it to 4 behavior groups, and I think it was unlimited before, is because there was no challenge with unlimited. The challenge would have been non-existent, because you could have, anyone can solve any of the levels if you have 100 actions to do. You just keep nudging the sword this way and nudging it that way and nudging it this way and so on and so forth. And you can just complete any level by just programming the path of the sword exactly. So I figured adding this constraint, it's 4 for now. I'm actually considering making it these sections configurable based on the level. So like level 1 might only give you 1, the very first one to work with. Later levels might give you 4, but the whole reason behind this was adding the constraint. That constraint makes it a lot more challenging, but also more engaging, because when I had people playtest it, my friends, they would construct their behavior chain, see it fail in one minor way, and then they'd go back to the drawing board and tweak things, and they were really enjoying like honing their behavior chain to get the sword to do what they needed it to do. So they would be in here editing these things, and playing it and iterating essentially. So that was really cool to see. So the next major thing is that there's sounds now. You can actually notice it. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. There's music, which was done by one of my good friends. His name is in the credits, @NPCDwarf on Twitter, if you want to go and check him out. So we have music, which is awesome. Everyone loves the music. Everyone I've talked to has said it's amazing. So that's good. He did a great job. And then there's also sound effects, which I've just pulled from a sound libraries that I've purchased over the years. And I'll go ahead and play this now so you can hear it. Let's go ahead and hear it again. So we got sword clanking sounds, we have gore sounds, we have all of that good stuff. I'm considering adding in some more stuff here and there, but we don't need to get into that. There's also UI click sound, so if I click next level, you can hear the little click also here. So yeah, we got a bunch of little satisfying sounds there. Also, for the arrow, there is a sound. So yeah, I don't know how well you can hear that. Maybe I'll boost it in post. But kind of going off the arrows a little bit, the arrows now stick into terrain and enemies. Before they were bouncing around too much and they were kind of powerful. So I really the theme of this game, as I've been working on it, has been constraints, constraints, constraints. I've been limiting more and more what the player can do, and almost counterintuitively, that's actually increasing the engagement, because when you don't have as many options, it becomes A, clearer what you need to do, but B, you also have to come up with creative solutions because you don't have infinite resources, so to speak, right? So it goes back to the behavior blocks thing. If you have an infinite number of behavior blocks, you're not really incentivized to do creative thinking and problem solving because you can just keep going, right? So anyway, constraints, constraints, constraints. So that's it. Now let me show you a new enemy that I'm working on. So I'm going to go into the Godot editor here. I'm actually not going to cut this part out because maybe some people would like to see it. So I'm going to go to my level 1 here, and I'm just going to go ahead and instance a child scene. Let's do Goblin, Shield Goblin. There we go. All right, so let me show you how the Shield Goblin works. So we'll just place him right there, and we'll go ahead and run it. All right, so the Shield Goblin. Well, you can probably imagine what he does now is he blocks your attacks. So let me show you. I'll just shoot an arrow at him. Hopefully this lands. That did not land. Boom. No sounds yet because I'm prototyping this right now, but it breaks the shield, right? And the point of this essentially is a 2-hit goblin, meaning that he takes 2 hits to kill. So you have to shoot an arrow, and then what I might do is I might, make the sword follow up with a quick trigger, timer trigger, and I might throw the sword here and spin. Boom, there we go. So now I can go through both of them. If I just got rid of that arrow and I threw the sword, well, the sword actually rotated in such a way that it got through both of them anyway, which is fine because you can leverage that if you want to. But let's try not to give it so much spin. Maybe I can, yeah, so there. So the shield actually acts as terrain while it is up. So the sword can bounce off of the shield, which means that you can utilize the bounce trigger. So if I go ahead and utilize this bounce trigger, and I just say shoot an arrow that way. See? So it's kind of interesting because you can use it as a springboard. And the other interesting thing about the shield is that it has a higher restitution, meaning bounciness, than the terrain. So you might actually be able to get to somewhere that you weren't able to get to either, or earlier rather, by bouncing your sword off the shield rather than off the terrain. So that's kind of interesting. So basically he's a 2-hit goblin. He can protect other goblins like this, or maybe he can be situated in such a way that he's blocking a narrow path through the terrain, and so you have to come up with a clever way of hitting him twice. Maybe you do what I did initially and you shoot an arrow, or maybe you hit him, make the sword go elsewhere and kill something else, and then circle back to him. I think it opens up a couple of interesting gameplay opportunities there. One final thing I'm going to mention that ate up a lot of my time is I've been working on my GitHub action that will automatically export your Godot games. So here is that. It's Firebelly Godot export. I will put this in the description as well. And basically what this does is just a GitHub action, which is sort of code that runs in the cloud is the best way to think about it if you're unfamiliar with it. And what this does is this takes your configured project exports, export presets, and it builds them automatically and then creates a release on your repository for it. So here is my weapon puzzle, Sword Slinger repository. And you can see that I just made this release 2 hours ago. This was the action that did this. And you can see that it's built all of these project settings. So if I go to my export here, and I see all of this stuff. We have window, demo for Windows. Sorry, Windows, demo for Windows. The itch demo for Windows. The reason I have itch differently here is because I have this feature flag here. It's demo and itch because there's some copy or text on the demo end screen that needs to change depending on what platform you're on. For example, it'll link to either the itch page or the Steam page depending on where you played the game from. So that's why that feature flag is there. And we have basically 3 exports for each platform. So we have the itch demo, and then the release version. So basically, these are all the presets that I have defined, and my action will read those presets in, build them for you, and then upload them as zip files to your release. You can also optionally generate release notes. So you can see I've got some handy release notes there just based on the commit history. So this was, you know, it's just helpful to know. So like, oh, what did I do in this release, you know? So yeah, if you want to use that, it's MIT licensed. Feel free to pull it down. Feel free to make changes for you, you know, open issues, whatever you want to do. That's there for you to use. There's tons of configuration options here. Yeah. So that's basically it. So I spent a good chunk of my time since the last devlog also working on this, because this is ultimately going to make my life easier now and in the future. I don't have to manually export anything. I can just kick off a build process, and I have that those binaries available to me. So anyway, that's it. Like I said, go and try the demo. Please leave me feedback in any way you want. If you don't leave feedback, I just hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you wishlist it, so that way it comes out. When it comes out, you'll be notified of that. It's going to be a standard puzzle game. It's going to have probably 50 or so levels on launch. It's going to have a number of new, unique triggers and actions, and also more interesting enemies, sort of in the same vein as the shield goblin. So I'll be uploading more devlogs in the future, but thank you so much for checking out the game and playing the demo, and thanks for watching and liking and subscribing, wink wink. And yeah, thank you all for everything. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next devlog.